This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
Welcome to Elder Geek's Elder Speak. Today is Friday, March 16th, 2012. I'm Randy Yasenchak, editor of ElderGeek.com. Today in the background you'll be seeing me play some gameplay footage from Battlefield 3. I am by no way, means, or shape a good Battlefield 3 player, so feel free to call me a noob all you want. This is just some footage of me not playing like a total asshole like I typically do. Today on the show with me I have Trevor Faulkner, who is an editor on ElderGeek.com and a direct descendant of William Faulkner. Welcome, Trevor, to the show, sir.
Thank you. That's not true, but I will take it as if it was.
Wait, what's not true? That you're not an editor for Elder Geek?
No, I am not. However, I am directly descended to William Faulkner and William Shakespeare because first name relation somehow happens.
But no, honestly, you're not a descendant.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That would be totally badass if it was.
It would.
That would be...
I've used it to pick up chicks. They don't know who he is. It's really an awkward situation in the end.
It's just kind of an awkward situation if somebody doesn't know who William Faulkner is in the first place. But I digress. Moving on, Friday, it's been a long week in terms of news. We skipped yesterday's news just because yesterday was a game club day. So today we're actually going to be moving on. And this week turns out to be a very heavy RPG-related news week. And I personally have no problems with that. First thing on the chopping block is Bethesda is exploring the possibility of doing Elder Scrolls Online. Now, a lot of people have been playing the Elder Scrolls series since, well, I guess everybody has a different jumping on point, but given the format of the Elder Scrolls game, an online version doesn't seem like I don't want to say it's not too big of a step from where they are right now. What do you think so far, Trevor?
I call shenanigans.
You don't think it's real? You think this is a rumor and will never happen?
Is it real? It makes a financial sense that means it probably has to be real. However, it's just, part of me doesn't want to believe it. I know they wouldn't defer money away from probably their main story arc, but like I look at Final Fantasy and what happened to it when they decided, hey, we need to go online. It really, in the end, would depend on what kind of infrastructure they use for their online. If they do a lobby system and keep like the core like Elder Scrolls dynamic and maybe like party of 4 go out and do what you gotta do, completely game for that. Full on MMO, I don't think they could pull it off.
I think you bring up a really good point. Like, a lot of people enjoy the single-player sort of experience of Elder Scrolls games. And so if you had a little lobby system for specific missions, if you wanted to bring on other people, you could, kind of thing. Mm. You know? Or even just the towns, if the towns were kind of populated with...
Yeah, like instanced out so that I can interact and take people if I want. My biggest...
It's almost like a hybrid between the Elder Scrolls and Guild Wars 1.
Exactly, yeah, exactly like that.
I would be down with that.
Yeah, I'd be very down with that. But, realistically, Bethesda's track record just doesn't read it to me. The Elder Scrolls games are some of the buggiest, glitchiest, freeziest games I have ever played. And in order to, like, sell an MMO, well, you gotta hammer that stuff out, and you gotta hammer it out fast. There's still prolonged glitches happening in Skyrim that haven't been addressed.
Well, I also kind of think that a lot of MMOs are also, and just playing the flip side of the coin here, MMOs almost always launch with just a pile of bugs. So I almost wonder if MMO players expect certain bugs to come with the experience. Like World of Warcraft, when it launched, it was a buggy pile of crap. And check out the gigantic success that it is today. I don't know. I think they would make a ton of money if they did it. It would be nice if they did it a more classical approach, like the Guild Wars 1 approach, or if it was more of an Ultima Online kind of approach, instead of another WoW clone.
Yeah, they cannot do WoW clone. That has been played... I think Star Wars taught us, the Old Republic, that can't be... You just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, if we get another WoW clone, I'm completely done with MMOs. I used to be a giant MMO player, but... I don't play nearly as many anymore because they've all been the same for a little while. Anyway, I think we beat them up a little bit. We're good.
Yeah.
Next topic.
Yeah.
All right, next topic. This one's actually my favorite news topic of the week. This actually tops the Neverwinter Nights 2 mod to play Icewind Dale. Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition is on the way. It is officially coming, and the company that's actually going to be remaking it, they did an enhanced version of MDK last year. The company name, I don't want to... Overhaul Games. Overhaul Games is the company that's actually going to be redoing it.
Man, you got that so fast.
I did.
It's like I'm tipping your tongue.
Did.
Ugh.
But they're going to be rebuilding the entire thing, and based on what they did with MDK, it looks like it's going to be badass. Baldur's Gate is one of my favorite games of all time, I got to admit. It's one of those games where when it came out, I played it, and I was such a geek, and that when I played it, I was almost embarrassed at how big of a geek I was, but now I embrace my geekdom, and I cannot wait for this new Baldur's Gate.
I'm going to break your heart, Randy.
Why?
I'm going to break your heart. I do not like Baldur's Gate.
Well,
you do not like Baldur's Gate. I don't want to.
Well, I have news for you. You're not a direct descendant of William Faulkner, so.
I mean, that's true.
Care.
Just a little Lego men wandering around my slightly sloping environment shooting skeletons. I just didn't dig it.
Oh, no. Please do not confuse Baldur's Gate, the original, with the Baldur's Gate that found its way to PlayStation 2, I think it was. Baldur's Gate, the original, was a top-down, turn-based RPG that probably closest resembles today of like Dragon Age Origins.
Okay.
It is a hardcore RPG. It is D&D rules. It's not. Yeah. So I don't know. I think you should try this.
I wrote it off way back when, so maybe this is the perfect time to jump back into the game.
I think it's the perfect time for the game to be rewritten, with everybody being all kind of mad at Dragon Age Origins 2, and now there's, of course, all this drama surrounding Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
I think people are kind of... Between the success of Skyrim and, and everybody being kind of upset with Dragon Age 2 and everybody kind of being upset with Mass Effect 3, I think that everybody needs a nice, solid dose of good Western RPG action, and this is going to be it.
Yeah, I mean, it's heartening, in my opinion, regardless of what I think of like the Baldur's Gate series. It's heartening, in my opinion, to see stuff like this kind of reemerge and be redistributed throughout the populace, especially when recently, more than ever that I can imagine, like things we love are getting sort of bastardized by the marketing team. The phantom marketing team that sits behind every game. And whether you're talking about like the uproar over like the disenchantment of Mass Effect with the new Mass Effect game, or the repetitiveness that Assassin's Creed 3, or not 3, Revelations has taken, and some of these games that at once possibly could have fallen into what we might consider the best games of our generation, kind of got ate alive by their own...
By themselves.
Yeah, by their own bigness.
I get you. I think this also serves another bigger purpose here of, how do I want to put this? With books and television, a lot of times there's no real worry about losing your roots. There's not a lot of worrying about losing your classics. If you wanted to watch The Thin Man, you can still go out and buy DVDs of The Thin Man and you can watch it. If you wanted to read William Faulkner, you can still go out and read William Faulkner. Here, he actually came up in a legitimate case here. But if you wanted to actually go back and play some older PC games, Baldur's Gate not being one of them, because there have been people that have been making sure that it's able to run on Windows pretty well. But without teams and without people remaking games like this or refreshing games like this, we actually do run a risk of losing a lot of our classic games.
Yeah.
So I think this kind of thing is neat, and I think it's important for us.
I agree completely. I'm a huge proponent of MAME and stuff like that. It's nice to see that things people cared about still exist and can still exist in the like yearly release, fast-paced, let's move stuff world that we've grown accustomed to.
Speaking of controversies, I'm predicting one around Diablo 3.
What is it?
Oh, no, I'm just saying. I'm predicting that there will be controversy around Diablo 3.
I thought you actually were going to have a controversy like...
No. I don't have one yet. I just think that there are going to be people... By the way, this leads into our next and final news story for the week. Diablo 3's release date has been announced. May 15th, 2012, which is not far away. So if you haven't put in your pre-sale or pre-purchase, go ahead and do that. But with a digital downloaded game, I don't see the real need to pre-order.
That's right after my birthday, and I recommend everybody who's listening to gift it to me. Thank you.
How many copies do you want?
As many as you can give me, that I won't sell to other people and scalp them. But thank you. Just preliminary thank you for everybody who buys me that.
But Diablo 3 is on the way, and it already does have some controversy kind of swirling around it. It has the whole controversy of the using, actual money for in-game items controversy and that kind of thing going on. So that's all I really got to say about it. Is I know people are going to get up in arms. There's going to be half the party is going to be so psyched that they're finally playing Diablo 3, and then the other half is going to be completely caught up in whatever controversy that comes out about it / the game didn't live up to their expectations.
And I mean, you bring up a bigger issue just by mentioning it. I mean, more and more I see the kind of I'll call it the iPhone bleed, where microtransactions in iPhone games are pretty much the norm. They're expected, and that's bleeding into our world of like PC and console games. If you look at whether it's an edition based or it's a DLC based, with Street Fighter Cross Tekken, there's a huge imbalance occurring due to some DLC and some stuff you get from the like enhanced edition that players who get like the special edition are getting power-ups that make power-ups in the game obsolete, and then later you can buy them, and to the point where eventually you can no longer compete at a competition level without having these things that you must purchase to obtain. And I'm a little bit afraid in like Diablo that although at the beginning it might just be, hey guys, they're like hats, you just get cool weapons, that eventually be like, well, you will not, like, you will be a useless group member, or you will be a useless person in this game lest you buy this thing.
There's already fears of people creating loot farms, basically, to sell the items.
Yeah.
I mean, there are loot farms for other games as well, but they're really worried about loot farming on Diablo 3.
I mean,
so I'll tell you what, that's actually going to be. I've been doing a question of the day, so that's actually going to be my question for everybody out there. Please throw this out in the comments as you're reading this. What is your biggest fear about Diablo 3? What do you think is going to be the biggest controversy surrounding Diablo 3? Because there's going to be some. A game of this size cannot be free, I should say. I would love it if it wasn't. I would love it if it was just, hey, here's Diablo 3. Yeah. Take it home, install it, and just slay some orcs and skeletons and shit with your friends and have an awesome time. But that's not going to happen.
No. The box has been opened and we can no longer close it.
No, we can't. We can't. And this also brings up another thing that always kind of bothers me whenever these sequels kind of come out and people are arguing that we've ruined sequels. It's like, well, where were you when this game was big? Because I don't remember people really talking about this that much. Although Diablo is kind of the exception to the rule. Everybody played Diablo 1 and 2.
Yeah.
If you owned a PC back in 1997, you played Diablo 1 and 2.
On your dial-up.
On your dude, totally on the dial-up. All right, moving on to user feedback. Actually, had a lot of really good feedback from the last show. One of the longest and one of the nicest ones written out was actually from Instant Classic VAA on our YouTube page. I'm going to read a little bit of this. It kind of goes on, but you'll kind of get the gist of it. I basically asked the question, what can we do to save our mid-range developers and our publishers? Because as we go on, over the past 5 years, we've seen this polarization between mega large, super evil corporations creating gigantic AAA games and just small 2 and 3 guys working together to create indie games, and there feels to be like no development in between. Instant Classic VAA writes, I think what we can do to help the mid-range developers from complete obscurity or devastation is to simply keep our expectations at ease, but still be completely supportive and informed. Think of Mojang, for instance, going from indie to mid-range in a matter of months, even though currently Minecraft's popularity could be considered successful on a level of most EA and Bethesda titles, but it's the fact that they aren't sponsored by EA or Bethesda that sets them apart. It's not to say developers are completely innocent. If a game is not published by Ubisoft or EA or Bethesda, then they're considered independent, even if published by an external company completely. Even indie developers seem to recognize this. Even when that developer keeps putting out plenty of well-received and reasonably popular material, they'll still be considering themselves independent. Perhaps I'm being biased, but I'll go straight to the point. It's not to say we can't be loyal or faithful to the material that either looks really good or is being developed by a trustworthy team, but I feel we need to embrace all mediums of gaming. We need to stop looking at EA and Ubisoft and think, yeah, I trust those guys, and then when an obscure developer or publisher comes out, release a game and think, I don't know. It's all about the consumer and the attention brought to the games, whether it's the publisher, developer, or the content, I suppose. I think that we're just not that well informed. Thanks to the popularity of publishers and developers, I think we need to stay informed. That's why I love Elder Geek. I've never heard of some of these games before you review it, but thanks to you, I'm given the opportunity to acknowledge them. That's my 2 cents. I apologize for this long statement. So thanks for the props in the comment. I thought it was really well thought out. I think he states the case perfectly well. Mm-hmm. That's it. I got nothing else. I mean, Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. I would just say, as much as I agree, I feel like the little guys are getting really good press nowadays, despite the huge overshadowing giants. The fact that I know what Dust Force is, speaks to that. And maybe just because, we're surrounded by games all the time with Elder Geek and stuff like that. Right. But with the way Steam has grown, with the way websites are starting to treat these lesser, previously invisible games, I'm really excited to see what the future holds for indie developers. I think we've moved on to a place where literally anyone, if they're willing to spend the money and the time, can have a hit.
I agree. In fact, speaking of growing opportunities for indie developers, it's funny that you say that. I actually just came across another indie-focused channel here on YouTube that I kind of enjoy, so I'm going to share that as well. It's Indie Static. He's actually part of the Game Station network, just like Elder Geek is. He puts a lot of time into his videos, and I have to admit, I have enjoyed every single one that I've watched, and a lot of the games that he is showing, I've never heard of before. And I try to go out of my way to find some of these games, and he really kind of brings out some obscure games. So if you want to, go ahead and feel free to hit up his channel. If anybody wants to send us any emails to be read on the show, in case YouTube is a little bit too short of a space for you to write out, feel free to send any and all email to info@elder-geek.com. Or in the meantime, you can always hit us up on Facebook, where all the staff members are quite chatty and they post pretty regularly. Take care, everybody, and have a good weekend.